Hey guys, today we're going to be talking about our crash course over Rosencrantz and Guildenstern. This play was written by Tom Stoppard in 1966 and is a modern retelling of the story of Hamlet from two different perspectives from the original play. Stoppard was born in 1937 in Czechoslovakia, and his family fled to Singapore to evade the Nazi invasion. Eventually, they made it to Australia, where his mother met a major in the British Army, and later, his family moved back to Britain, and he fell in love with English wordplay and literature.
Oh, hey, I didn't see you there. So first we're going to talk about the characters. Rosencrantz and Guildenstern are the two main protagonists of the play. Rosencrantz is the more carefree, doesn't worry about the world around him one, while Guildenstern is the more analytical one, the more assertive one out of the two. So Claudius, he's the main antagonist of the play. He's the uncle of Hamlet and the King of Denmark. He's the one who exploited Rosencrantz and Guildenstern to get. So these are some of the other characters you should know about. Hamlet, Gertrude, and the player. Hamlet, he's the Prince of Denmark, and his uncle is Claudius, who married his mother, Gertrude. Claudius killed Hamlet's father, which caused Hamlet to spiral down into madness, which is where Rosencrantz and Guildenstern came in to get him. So the next character we're going to talk about is Gertrude. She has a strong connection to Hamlet and cares about him a lot because she's his mother. She's also married to Claudius, which is Hamlet's uncle, which makes her the Queen of Denmark. So the final character in this list is the player. He's a very eccentric man who understands how the world works. One of his biggest dreams in life is to put on a play while people are watching. He is one of the few who truly understands the life that Rosencrantz and Guildenstern are living. Alright, so this is another list of minor characters. The Tragedians is a group of actors that is led by the player. Another character, Polonius, is a leader of the Danish court who's meant to find out who Hamlet is. He's also later murdered by Hamlet. So finally, the last character we're going to talk about is Ophelia. She was the wife of Hamlet who was completely distraught when she found out his descent into madness.
This play opens up with two characters traveling in an undisclosed wilderness, flipping a coin amongst each other. They later encounter a group known as the Tragedians, who are a group of traveling actors. Through a discussion between Guildenstern and the player, who is the leader of the group, an argument is formed because Guildenstern sees the group as prostitutes rather than actors. As the lights change the scene of the play, Hamlet is seen chasing after Ophelia, mischievously followed by Claudius, Hamlet's uncle, and his mother Gertrude. Claudius and Gertrude notice Hamlet's unusual behavior and want to know the causes behind his actions. Rosencrantz and Guildenstern then discuss possible causes of Hamlet's madness. Claudius infers that perhaps the death of his father is leading Hamlet to change this way. Still unsure what their purpose is, Guildenstern assures Rosencrantz that they'll figure out why they're here and how they're going to get home soon. The two decide to question Hamlet, but fail greatly, noticing his change of what could be drawing this anger, such as the death of his father and his uncle Claudius taking over as king and marrying his mother. So some of the important features amongst Act 1 is the flipping of the coin between Rosencrantz and Guildenstern, which determines their fate. Another important aspect between Act 1 is the way Guildenstern and Rosencrantz act. You get to see their true colors and who they really are, while Rosencrantz is more carefree than Guildenstern. Act 1 is used to portray that Rosencrantz and Guildenstern don't know their true purpose. The introduction of Hamlet in Act 1 sets up the objective for the protagonist throughout the rest of the play.
After Rosencrantz and Guildenstern introduce the play, Act 2 begins. This is where Rosencrantz and Guildenstern truly become involved in Hamlet's situation. The two begin to discuss why Hamlet has a changed disposition. They create a series of questions to figure out their problem. Hamlet then gives them vague and sarcastic answers, which leads them nowhere. The two are then interrupted by Polonius to tell them that the player and the Tragedians have arrived in Denmark. The play that the Tragedians are about to perform is a direct mirroring of the events taking place when Rosencrantz and Guildenstern are dead. It involves a brother murdering his brother for his kingship and then ultimately stealing his wife. The play also holds characters that look exactly like Rosencrantz and Guildenstern. Rosencrantz then decides to speak one of the two characters, but ultimately confuses himself with the other, and tells the other that he has mistaken him rather than Rosencrantz mistaking the character. Alright. After the play is done, you can hear shouts from the crowd, which turn out to be Claudius. He's angered by how the events of the play and the actions taken parallel each other. He later then tells Rosencrantz and Guildenstern that Polonius has been murdered by Hamlet, and he sends the two to go search for Hamlet. Rosencrantz and Guildenstern ultimately fell in capturing Hamlet, but the guards of Claudius end up doing so. Claudius then sends Rosencrantz and Guildenstern to take Hamlet to England so that he can be executed for his crime. Right from Denmark to England, Rosencrantz and Guildenstern contemplate whether sending their friend Hamlet to his death. It was in the middle of the night that Hamlet switches the execution order from his own name to Rosencrantz and Guildenstern so that they could be executed instead of him. After Hamlet switched the names on the execution order from his own to Rosencrantz and Guildenstern, they still decide to travel to England. This is when they discover that the Tragedians and the player have hidden aboard the ship because Claudius was angered with their play. Once they arrive in England, the English king tells Rosencrantz and Guildenstern that they must be executed because of Claudius' order. This is when the player states that deaths like these are very common and that it all comes down to fate. They decide to go through the execution and then begins the fate of the dark. Just as the title states, Rosencrantz and Guildenstern are dead.
We're going to be talking about the importance of Act 2, and first up is character exposition. We're going to be talking about Claudius and how he reveals his true colors as he becomes angered about the events of the play, showing that he did in fact murder Hamlet's father. Second is going to be identity. This is shown when Rosencrantz confuses himself with one of the tragedians and shows that he truly does not know who he is. Finally, the theme of fate and how it comes full circle from Act 1 to 2. This is shown when the player is speaking over our protagonist's execution and sums up that this is part of their fate.
The main themes in the play are identity and fate. The theme of identity emphasizes the fact that many of the ideas in the play come from Hamlet. This left Rosencrantz and Guildenstern trying to find their identity throughout the whole play. The main idea also conveys how fate played a major role in decision-making in which the time period was set. The title, Rosencrantz and Guildenstern are dead, is pretty self-explanatory. The author intended to give detail throughout the play while adding comedic action. The characters Rosencrantz and Guildenstern struggle to figure out their importance throughout the play. The two really don't understand their importance, and they build their character based on the interactions with others. With how Rosencrantz and Guildenstern build their identity based on the interactions they have with others, this allows the reader to see how important the theme of identity is throughout the play. The main mood throughout is comedic and ironic, with bits of tragedy weaved in and out throughout the play. At the beginning of the play, the mood is somewhat puzzling because the characters don't even know what they're doing. As the play goes on, the mood seems to become witty and a bit bleak because of the situation they get themselves into. The two main symbols throughout the play are the coin and the boat. The coin represents fate, and the boat represents the power that Hamlet has. Several of the motifs that are included in the play are gambling, chance, Hamlet's actions, and the Lord's Prayer. This is a unique take on the background of Hamlet. It's unique in the sense that, as you follow the journeys with our two characters, you can see how their actions and their journey greatly affect Hamlet's future.
Today, we introduced and explained the entirety of Rosencrantz and Guildenstern are dead. We gave you the background of the author, Tom Stoppard, and how he learned to love literature. Then we talked about the characters and their importance to the story. Next, we gave you the summary of the play and the less important things within them. Lastly, we explained the themes, symbols, motifs, and the mood. Thank you for watching our crash course.